Please introduce yourself to the board.
My name is Quinn Cousins and I'm 27 years old.
What is your current occupation?
Currently, I have 2 jobs. During the week, I work as the administrative assistant at Ann Arbor High School, and on the weekends, I bartend at the Killer Club bar.
What do you do as a bartender?
Well, other than bartend, I like to keep my customers entertained with stories about what's going on around town and in the school, like which teacher is dating which baseball coach and which students were caught underage drinking.
And what do you do as an administrative assistant?
I file and maintain classroom schedules. I answer phone calls, set up all principal events, meetings, that sort of stuff.
Now let's move on to your relationship with Miss Gordon. How do you feel about Miss Gordon?
I don't really like Miss Gordon. Miss Gordon is a person who has a bit of a temper with me. She's very rude. She's very demanding.
Now let's move on to your relationship with Principal Loman. When did you first meet Principal Loman?
I first met Principal Loman in June of 2009 when she took us for a meet and greet lunch, and she took the department heads and some of the administrative staff.
What happened in early 2010 with Miss Gordon and Principal Loman?
Miss Gordon came in one day to the office and she just was very rude about the whole situation towards me. She demanded that I let her speak to Principal Loman.
Were there any other problems after that?
Yes, after that I started receiving multiple phone calls of parents complaining that Miss Gordon had inappropriate religious
Objection, Your Honor. I constitute this as hearsay. There's no evidence or any testimony previously said that states that these parents actually did make phone calls or there was a call transcript.
Your Honor, may I respond?
Yes.
Queen Cassins is the secretary or the administrative assistant for the school, so all the calls would be to her and she would have answered them. So she would have already known about the calls made.
Your Honor, I think she's allowed to say that she received calls, but the nature of the calls shouldn't be allowed.
But why is the nature of the calls relevant? And aren't you offering the information about what was said in the calls for the truth of that information, that those people aren't here to be examined?
Well, it's not to go to the truth of the matter asserted. We're just simply saying what the calls were about and why Principal Loman was aware of them.
Then, Your Honor, I object to relevance. If they're not being offered to prove the truth of the matter asserted, then I don't see them being relevant in today's case.
Your Honor, it goes to show the subsequent actions of what happened after these calls happened.
Then, Your Honor, it is being proven for the truth of the matter asserted.
Let me ask you this. Are you saying here today that the principal took action based on these calls from parents?
Well, that and there were other reasons about what were happening.
But there'll be testimony that the calls from the parents factored into some actions taken by the principal.
Yes.
Overruled, subject to, you can strike later if it's not. You may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. And were there any other problems after that?
Yes, after that, I received the phone calls, Principal Loman had me type up a memo telling all the teachers that they were not allowed to have
Objection,
religious
Your Honor.
symbols.
This is hearsay. I do not have a copy of that memo, and the memo has not been provided to us in our packet, so anything about the memo could not be sent to today's trial.
Well, I think the question was, were there any other problems, after that? So why don't you ask the question, what were the problems, and then we can see that that's objectionable.
What were the problems?
The problems were that Miss Gordon had inappropriate religious symbols in her classroom.
So what did Principal Loman have to do?
Principal Loman had me type up a memo that said
Objection, Your Honor. This is stating what the memo was not. This is stating the subject line. Again, I say this is hearsay. This has not been provided to us, and it's basically hearsay.
Your Honor, may I respond?
Yes.
We were not given the memo in the packet, but it states in this witness statement that she was told to write up the memo by Principal Loman.
All right, where can we turn to? Let's turn and look at her witness statement.
Your Honor, may I answer? Even if it's in the packet, even if it's in her witness statement, it doesn't mean, and it doesn't make it less or more inadmissible hearsay. I believe that it's still hearsay because we don't have a fair copy, and a true and accurate copy of that was what Principal and Mr. Jones actually were.
Well, I think right now, you're asking her what she typed up. Is that correct?
That's
correct. And that is where, let's turn to wherever you believe that is in the witness statement.
It's page 2, line 54.
All right, objection overruled, so we proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. And what did Principal Lemon have you do?
Principal Lemon had me type up a memo saying that there was to be no religious symbols in the classroom and that all student groups had to be approved by her.
And how did Ms. Gordon react?
Ms. Gordon obviously didn't care about the memo because she just
Objection, Your
was in her
Honor.
classroom.
I don't see this being actual. I don't see it being fair as to she was not there with Ms. Gordon when she actually received the memo, and I don't think it's fair for her to give her testimony of what she thinks Ms. Gordon or how she thinks Ms. Gordon reacted.
Your Honor, may I respond?
Yes.
First, the objection is untimely. My witness has already finished answered. And the memo was sent to all teachers, including Ms. Gordon. So Ms. Gordon received the memo, and she was told what she needed to do.
All right, well, then I think she was pretty much done with her answer by the time of the objection, so it's overruled.
Thank you, Your Honor. Now let's move on to the day of the firing. What happened on April 11th, 2011?
Ms. Gordon came in that morning saying she had a meeting with Principal Lemon.
Can you hear what comes from Principal Lemon's office?
Yes, my desk was only 15 feet away from the door.
And what did you do?
Objection, Your Honor, hearsay.
May I respond?
Yes.
Under Rule 803-2, it's cited evidence speaks about what happened in the office.
Your Honor, she has no foundation for excited utterance, and there's nothing to do. It's hearsay.
Well, why don't you give the foundation for excited evidence?
Ms. Cassins, what happened on April 11th, 2011?
Ms. Gordon came in that morning saying she had a meeting with Principal Lemon.
Can you hear what comes from Principal Lemon's office?
Yes, my desk was only about 15 feet away.
And what was happening in the office?
Ms. Gordon and
Objection, Your Honor, speculation.
Okay, I think you're trying to lay the foundation if she, heard loud voices.
Well, she
or-
was just getting to the point.
Okay, but you'll need to lay that, if you want to talk about what was said, you need to lay the foundation for, the tone, the loudness, or things like that, so you can give evidence to Rule 803.
All right, thank you. Was there any voices coming from the office?
yes, they were
Objection, Your
shouting.
Honor.
Well, the question was, any voices from the office, and she's answered that yes. You can ask your next question.
Okay. What were the tone of these voices?
They were argumentative. They were arguing between back and forth.
Objection, Your Honor, speculation.
Your Honor, it's already been established that Ms. Cassington here was coming from the office, so she obviously heard what was happening in these voices.
All right, overruled.
Thank you. What was the tone of these voices?
They were arguing back and forth.
Did you hear what they were saying?
Yes, I did.
And what were they saying?
Well, first I heard Principal Lemon.
Objection, Your Honor, hearsay.
Overruled.
Thank you, Your Honor. And what did they say?
First I heard Principal Lemon shout, "Get rid of those items from your classroom while you're fired." And I know Ms. Gordon yelled something back, but I couldn't really make it out.
And what happened next?
After that, I heard Principal Lemon shout, "Don't touch me," and then a couple seconds later, I heard Principal Lemon say, "That's it, you're finished, get up here right now."
Thank you. No further questions.